Hello, honors freshmen. So you guys are nearing the end of your freshman year, and as a part of that, you're going to need to complete your problem solution research project for your honors freshman English class. So I'm Mrs. Finney, I'm one of your librarians. I'm here today to kind of walk you through some ideas as you start your research. So the big thing for this research project is that your topic needs to be relevant to Kansas and here locally. Your teachers want you to research a problem that is happening here with us. They want you to research a problem that impacts us locally, and they want you to find solutions that are feasible, that are things that we could accomplish, so they're not something that's going to cost $1 million that we would magically get overnight. So we really want you in the library to be using our library resources. So we have some really great databases and ebooks and resources that we would love for you to use. And that is, of course, our first choice when you are doing research. But with this particular type of topic, we do understand that you may need to branch away from our databases and do some generic online searching. But the most important part of doing online searching is understanding that you can't just aimlessly Google things. So as you start this process, make sure that you are searching with intent, searching for a purpose, and that you know specifically what you are looking for. So to help with that, it's really important that you know exactly what you're looking for. So I've come up with an example question that I will model for you as I search online. So here's my topic. I'm going to be searching coronavirus in Kansas. That's my big overarching problem. Now, I want to know specifically what I'm looking for. Am I going to try to solve coronavirus for everyone? Am I going to create the next vaccine? Probably not. But a good question that I could answer is how can high school students help stop the spread of coronavirus in Kansas? Now, to search that, I'm not going to type this whole question into my Google search box because if I were, I would get a lot of information. Also, if you watch our database tutorial, you'll know that our databases can't handle searching a whole question. They need keywords. So I'm going to come up with specific keywords that I can search to help narrow that information down. Now, I can just search coronavirus. It's going to give me a lot of information really fast, but that's going to give me a good overview on what I'm looking for. That might be a good starting research keyword. You'll also find that if you just change up words and use synonyms, you can find quite a bit of information too. So if I search COVID-19, which is the same thing as coronavirus, that search in synonyms is probably going to give me information. Also, once I kind of get some background information, I want to narrow it down to Kansas. Maybe I will search COVID-19 and Kansas. And that'll give me information on COVID-19 and information in Kansas tied together. Also, I know that I'm looking for students stopping the spread. So I'm looking for prevention. So I might search preventing coronavirus. Now, if you are having trouble coming up with a question or keywords, please email myself, Mrs. Finney, or Mrs. Sandberg in the library. Our job is to help you with this. We would be more than happy to take your topic, help you refine a research question, and then build keywords. And we can even walk you through an example search and show you some good research documents to start with. So I know my topic, I know my question, I know my keywords. Now I need to look at how I'm going to search. So before I do that, I need to look at what I call the CRAAP test. So if you guys have taken your freshman health class already and you've done your STI research, you've seen this with Mrs. Sandberg or myself already. A good starting point when you're doing online research is to use your CRAAP test. So as we are finding these sources online, I'm going to be looking for at least these 5 things. So the first thing is currency. That really won't be a problem for me as I'm doing my coronavirus research because I'm looking for information that is new and up to date. As coronavirus is so new, I'm only going to find new information. Now, if my problem was human trafficking in Kansas, which is a huge problem, I'm going to want to make sure I'm finding articles and resources that are current. I don't want to find a news report from the 1980s because it's going to be treated differently than it is now. Relevance, that may be important. I might be finding information as I search coronavirus that talks more about the flu or allergies. So relevance will be important. Authority is probably going to be one of my biggest one. My two A's here are going to be the most important. Who is writing this information? Is it an actual doctor? Is it a member from our government? Is it on our coronavirus response team? And are they an authority figure? So I might look at who the author is, the publisher who's sponsoring the information. If I'm not sure, I'm going to do some digging. When you search on our databases, all of those resources are pre-vetted by these companies that pay to do this, so you know that information is credible. But online, no one's paying to check that information, so I have to check it myself. So I might need to Google the author, open a new tab and Google the publisher, figure out if they are an authority figure. If I'm going to be publishing this information and putting my name on it, I want to do the back search to make sure they're good people. Same thing with accuracy. Accuracy is basically saying that I'm finding the same information across all of my resources. So I can find it on source one, source two, source three. If I find a fact on source one that doesn't match on source three, then I know I don't want to use those sources. I want to go find some different ones. And then the last one is purpose. Why are they presenting this information? Are they trying to persuade me to do something, or are they just informing me? Most of my coronavirus information is going to be just informational, but I will probably find some bias on information. So that's what I need to be looking for as I'm searching. Now, I do want to point out one other really cool tool that you can use. So if you've ever used Google extensions, you can search for a new extension. Here are my extensions. And there is a Google extension called MyBib. Now, MyBib is a citation generator that we recommend you use for citing your sources. But I really like MyBib because it also has this extension. And what it will do is it will pop up and it will tell me if a source is credible. Now, it's telling me right here this source is not credible, and I can click on it and find out why. Well, it's telling me there's no vital information. That means it's not finding an author, a publisher, anything. Well, that doesn't surprise me because it's just a picture. Um, but it gives me my citation. So it gives me all this great information. So this will help you kind of walk through this CRAAP test. Really great tool. So if you haven't downloaded it yet, I recommend you do so. All right, so what I've done for you today is I've done some back searching to try and find three different resources. One that I think is the best resource that I would 100% use from an online search. One that's okay, but I'm going to be real wary about it. And then one I would not use. Now, I'm going to say right now that this was kind of a hard topic for me because when you search COVID-19, Google is on their game. They have a COVID-19 page and everything is starred saying, this is a good source, go here, and they're pushing their reliable sources to the top. So I had to kind of do some digging. Um, so this is the COVID-19 search. I kind of went through, did some searching, and then I decided, I really want to focus on COVID-19 in Kansas. So here's my COVID-19 Kansas search. So the first source I found is, or the one that I want to look at, is this resource right here. It's from KAKE.com and it's coronavirus Q&A. Can stimulus checks be garnished? Is it routine to stay clean? And basically what this is it's a local news source out of Kansas, which I might want to use because it's going to be something that I know has been written here. And it's going to be something that I know I might actually know this weather or this news company. But as I go through and read it, I'm noticing that there are questions and then some answers. And what I'm finding is these are questions from viewers. And what this news resource does really well, they're out of Wichita, is they actually they're citing their sources and they're quoting who answered it and they're also linking to it. So that's a really good thing. Um, my concern would be I would much rather go directly here and cite that website. Also, when you go on a news resource, sometimes you're going to find bias. So how are they leaning either way? There's not a lot of bias right now about COVID-19 except for, is it real? Is it not real? Is it, fear mongering? But you might find some bias in that window. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my MyBib and see what it says. So it's thinking. So this one says it's probably credible. So if I click on that, it contains the vital pieces of information to make it credible. We couldn't verify the quality of the publisher. So That's telling me is it does have an author, it does have a publisher, it is very recent, it was published yesterday, but MyBib doesn't know anything about KAKE. I don't either, so I'm kind of a little wary. If it was WIBW or something locally, I might be a little more comfortable. But that's option one. Option two is from the Kansas Department of Health and Environment. This is something that I went to because I know when I've watched our governor's um, live videos that she is telling us to go here. As I look through it, I also see one thing I really like is when I scroll down to the bottom, it's linked to CDC, FEMA, the government, and it has the Kansas logo. So I know this is something that's probably going to be credible. I also like this because we know the CDC is a government resource. It's a good resource. I don't even need to search it because I know that people they employ are going to be doctors with very high levels of education. But I like this resource because it's the CDC information pulled in to a Kansas view, which makes it more of that local. But just for fun, let's see what MyBib says. Now, MyBib on this resource is going to say it might be credible. Now, here's the reason they don't know. They can't find any authors. If the publisher is recognizable, it's probably okay to use. So this is where I'm going to think, I might need to do some more digging. Now, I know as an educator and as a librarian that big companies like this pay for groups of writers to publish these things, and they don't necessarily cite them all the time. But looking at this webpage, I've got doctors cited, I've got the governor cited, and like I said, there's just at the bottom. So this one's probably safe. Now, the third resource I clicked on was the Wikipedia page for the 2020 coronavirus and pandemic in Kansas. Now, if I go back to my Google search, all of this information over here on the right, the map, the state, the statistics, all are being pulled from Wikipedia. So we all know how we feel about Wikipedia. It's kind of credible, kind of not. Let's see what MyBib says. So MyBib actually says that Wikipedia is probably credible. If I click on it though, this is what I love. Wikipedia by itself might not be a valid source. Check with your teacher. 100% yes. However, you can usually use the links on the bottom of the page to find the original information. Those are typically more credible. So again, like with that news resource, I would much rather use the actual source that's being cited than Wikipedia itself. But I want to show you one more thing. Wikipedia actually has levels of protection on their web pages. So this is from Wikipedia themselves, and there's these little locks. And you'll notice that the Kansas page doesn't have a lock. And what that means is that means it is open to editing. So right here, normal editing can edit, changes go live immediately. So anybody who has a Wikipedia account can edit that. That makes me really nervous. Now this is the coronavirus disease. It has just a regular lock, and that one says it is semi-protected, which means some accounts can edit it if they request access. So just be aware that if you are using Wikipedia sources, here's Donald Trump's page. This one is extended protection. And what that means, if I scroll up here, it means that users who've had 30 days and 500 edits can then go into edit this page. So there are different levels of Wikipedia. So know that going into using a Wikipedia source, and also know that we would much rather you just use the resources at the very bottom of that page. And there's also full protection as well. But like I said, this one didn't have any. So it's going to make me a little wary. So with all of those things in mind, if I had to pick from one of these three sources or rank them from best to worst, my number one choice, my best resource would be the Kansas Department of Health and Environment. I know it's a good resource. I know where the information comes from. And even though MyBib was a little concerned, I do know who the publisher is. I'm comfortable using it. My number two source, my would be this local news resource. I would be more comfortable using one locally, but like I said, it's kind of. And then my last case resort would be to use Wikipedia. I would use that more as a sounding board to find sources. If you have any questions, let us know. Thank you.